Welcome back to the EULCS after Splice's victory over Rocket and the best interview of all time. Thanks to this guy and thanks to Kasing. Congratulations, that was really entertaining. I just keep on laughing.
Yeah, it's just fantastic standing next to a player like Kasing.
Right. Oh, you have to keep this going. All right. Well, we got.
I don't have to keep it going. But.
We have to give praise to someone else as well in that game. The player of the game, Sjokz, 58% of the votes. Great play overall on Zach, but I think the steals have something to do with it.
Yeah, I believe this was a game built around Baron steals. We had, funny enough, 3 of them. And
all stolen.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time I saw 3 in a row where the team would start a Baron would end up losing it. So I guess we all learned, don't start Baron.
And a team that got the first Baron didn't win the game, so that's also why.
That's true, but they also stole the Baron. And stealing is not okay. So we also learned, don't steal.
Don't steal. Get your victories.
There you go.
Fair and square. Let's see what happens in the next one. Our next matchup is the Unicorns of Love versus Schalke 04. We want to take a minute to talk about the Unicorns of Love. They have a storied history in the EULCS and had great success since first joining in spring 2015. They have reached 2 finals already, and there's only 3 teams that are currently in the league that have reached more than 1 final. Fnatic, G2, and the Unicorns. They are in good company.
Yeah, they've been a top team ever since they joined. That very first split in 2015, they made the final, lost to Fnatic 3-2. When we had to go forward a little bit, last year in Hamburg, they also made the final again, lost sadly to G2 Esports. So while they've always made playoffs, they haven't won the EULCS yet, and it's still the #1 goal for this organization.
It is their goal, but coming into the split, they made a lot of changes to the lineup. They lost Vizicsacsi and Vizicsacsi.
Hey!
And it didn't get off to a fantastic start with the new lineup. It looked actually like they would miss playoffs for the first time in their run, but then things started going better.
They always manage to find some players that step it up towards the end of the split. Some players who just get better and better, and especially Kold in the jungle is a standout for me. I think he's the most valuable member on this team because not only is he doing well individually, he is also the leader. He is the captain that everyone kind of listens to on this Unicorns of Love lineup. So he is so crucial for how they're playing, and he's brought consistency to the Unicorns of Love, which is pretty rare for this organization.
We haven't actually seen it that long, or in long periods of time, I should say, for the Unicorns of Love. A thing or two has to do with their mid laner, Exileh. He's not the beacon of consistency, but he has had really good moments in the last couple of weeks. And then there's Samux, who is stepping up every single game. I think that combination is working out very well as of recent.
Yeah, this is what they need. A consistent AD carry they can always rely on, and then this 10-0 or 0-10 mid laner who will win you some games, but also sometimes, sadly, lose you a couple of games. But that's kind of the nature of Exileh and the way he's playing. Samux, though, the fact that he's doing much better now, I think that's one of the key reasons behind this winning streak they're on. And let's be real, they look much better than a bottom team. They are definitely a contender for top 6.
They look fantastic in this moment. 4 games won in a row. They're looking to continue their climb upward in the standings and hopefully get to playoffs. And they are currently tied with their opponents up on stage today. Schalke, so you gotta give me your prediction.
I am going Unicorns of Love. I think they know how they want to play now. I think Kold, it will be super active early game. And WhiteKnight also yesterday actually played really, really well in the top lane. So I think they have the teamwork. I think they can be aggressive. And I think Schalke are missing some of those things. So Unicorns will take this.
We'll see if Schalke can put an end to the Unicorns of Love's winning streak as we head over to Quickshot and Amazing.
Thank you very much, Sjokz. I would have preferred the amazing Quickshot, but I'll take it. Look, this could be that make or break game for Schalke. We talked a lot about the standings because of how close they are. I just want to look at the strength of schedule looking forward on the side of Schalke 04 because, of course, they have Giants, G2, H2K, and Fnatic left to play against. That is a difficult set of teams if you want to make it into the top 6.
Yeah, realistically, they should be able to contest 2 out of those games, but the other 2 should, in theory, again, be free losses because G2 and Fnatic, even though they've been struggling yesterday, they're still strong teams.
Yes, very, very difficult. And of course, if that ends up being the case, you're looking at a final split score of about 7 wins to 11 losses. And
historically, it's been an issue.
It has been tough. I mean, when we looked at the previous splits that had this format, teams that picked up 9 wins was sort of in that safe spot. That almost guarantees you playoffs, which means Schalke need to win the rest of these games if they want to set themselves up for success.
Yeah, and you always want to be in control of your own destiny and fortune, because if you lose too many games, basically other teams have to lose for you to get to the playoffs, and you don't ever want to be in that helpless spot.
No, you don't. And of course, Schalke will be playing on the red side today, so they will have some options to counter-pick. It is patch 8.4. We're looking at the players on your screen now, of course, Chachi, Pride, Nukeduck, Upset, and VandeR. And I'm looking to the younger players to start to, shine a little bit more. Upset has had these flashes of brilliance, these moments that are fantastic. Yesterday, a good example, him stepping in front of the Ash Arrow to save VandeR. But unfortunately, those moments of brilliance are not being strung together to pick up consistent wins. And that's what my biggest frustration with Schalke is. They're playing, to me, almost like not to lose, reactive rather than proactive to try and force a win.
Basically, they're really good at setting up plays and understanding what they have to do for basically the first 20 minutes of the game. And afterwards, it basically comes down to individual play and to Nash setups and to shot calling. I think so far we have yet to see actual consistency in their shot calling. This is basically like these flashes of brilliance that we've seen where individual plays have carried their weak shot calling so far.
Okay, so let's talk about the matchup now. We're getting ready for picks and bans. Unicorns blue side, Schalke red side. Where are you looking to the strengths and weaknesses in individual players as we're about to jump into the draft?
It's actually going to be interesting. I think that for Unicorns, it's really important to kind of contest this Tristana, especially for Upset, and I think the Caitlyn is going to be a contested pick. But on the other hand, Samux is someone that, besides the Caitlyn pick, has performed in a lot of ADs. So it's going to come down to the bot lane.
Okay, bot lane. I like that. Keeps it nice and simple for us to focus on. And we'll track the picks and bans. Yesterday we saw an Ashe. We've seen Caitlyn's, Tristana's as well. But in terms of bans this time round, Pride Stalker played the Skana yesterday, if I recall correctly. Well, Pride, that's banned away. Camille, Cassio, and Rai. So heavy mid lane focus for these two most recent bans.
Yeah, not too surprising, although I don't know where the Caspia ban is coming from. It's again something that may evolve over the week where you face it in scrims, you're not comfortable playing against it, and you just ban it out.
All right, so Galio, still up and available. Exileh has played the Rise and the Azir in recent weeks and really shown a proficiency on that. There's the Caitlyn banned away. Junglers, a lot of junglers are still available here for both teams to consider.
Yeah, there's still Sejuani open, there's still Zac, there's still J4, and potentially other junglers, as we saw, for example, like Camille being off-pick, obviously being banned, but there's still the third-tier junglers that can be played.
What do you like to see in terms of priority for first pick? It is 8.4. We've seen some of the power champions. So what do you like in this 1 and then 2 pick for the first and second rotation?
I still love Braum. I still think Tristana is okay, but to a certain extent at trap right now, where obviously if Zai and Caitlyn are out, I think it's high priority, but it's still almost a noob bait where it's not as strong as before, and it can definitely set you up into a way where you may have a weaker pick ban because you sacrifice the first pick for it.
The bright side, it also unlocked killing towers earlier, and
Does.
if Schalke are going even and it's Unicorns that can unlock one tower, that can start that snowball that Schalke have been unable to break in their last few games. They're on a 2-game losing streak, and Schalke in their last 5 games have only picked up 1 win. So it is looking very scary. Well, let's take a look back at the draft. There's the Azir, so that denies Exile, and with Rise banned, that's his 2 most, I'm going to say, impressive champions in the last few weeks that are going to be blocked from him.
Yeah, he has played 1 game on Corki so far, but he lost that one. So that's usually the counter pick to Azir once Rise is denied. I still expect it to come out, but it may be a weaker choice for him.
Okay, the first rotation, Ezreal as well as Azir for Schalke. So a little bit more of a safer pick there in that bottom lane, that poke heavy. For Upset, only the second time he's going to play Tristana this patch. And the man on your screen right now, Kold, the Unicorns have been rallying around him. He's transitioned away from those carry junglers that we've seen a whole lot. And ooh, this is a flavor that we saw a little bit early on the split.
Yeah, it's been something that actually has come out in Season 5, if I remember correctly. I think it was Mr. Kuro from, was it Kuro? Kuro.
Yes,
Kuro.
yep.
Kuro, exactly. Playing it into Azir, and it's a really, really good counter pick because you can easily scale into it.
And it's something that Exile has also played. That zone control so powerful. It's another tool that can help deal with those banner minions as well. So block off some of the minion wave, get some zoning, and there's the Tahm Kench to round it out. So AD carry, support, and mid laner, jungler, and solo lanes, top lane rather, that's all that's left for you.
A lot of variety on the board. There's no real clear-cut comp that is already seen out of Unicorns. I think it will be down to the last 2 picks to define the comp for them. But on the other hand, the Braum pick, I still don't understand why teams actually leave it up for so long, because I do think when you combine it with any AD carry, you have so much kill potential on bot lane, you can always play around it.
Okay, and is there a flavor that these three champions piece together are starting to pick for you?
Team fight, team fight, team fight. Basically kite back and hope that the enemy engages into you, and you can then counter-engage.
So what are we looking at in terms of jungle and top lane then? I mean, Sejuani's still open, so that's a possibility. Jarvan's still open, that's a possibility. We haven't seen Jax really at all this weekend, and we kind of thought maybe that could have been possible.
Kind of weird because like there was a press attack buff. I mean, early game kind of changed, but later on in the game, it's definitely a buff, and Jax definitely shines with it. So it's surprising to not see it, but it makes sense if the game is not entirely like fast-paced, but you're still like trying to figure out what's going to happen within the game.
All right, well, let's see what figures out in the draft. Cho'Gath and Kha'Zix removed by Schalke and UOL. Second ban by Schalke, I think, was locked in at the Ornn, if I can see that correctly.
Ornn being gone.
So top lane is removed.
For the Sion pick, though, they kind of open it up for Unicorn, so I'm not quite sure what they're going for right here. But maybe just, again, comfort that it's something they won't want to play against. Ornn ban makes less sense if you pick Braum, because Braum can deny that Ornn ult already.
All right, so... I mean, Sion would also fit into the teamfight style that you were talking about. Jarvan's removed from the pool, so Sejuani's up, Sion's up, Zac's up. Forgot about him completely, in fact. And for Pride, 3 games played on Zac, if he decides to lock that in. Sejuani, 4 games played, and that's open too.
Sejuani is still open. It's going to be Sejuani for the Unicorns. I like the Zac pick, actually, because it makes sense to leave the enemy the Sejuani, because Braum can easily block that ultimate and deny that engage, whereas Zac's engage is so much harder to contest.
Right, Vizicsacsi, what does he run then into an expected tank?
We've seen Shen actually out of Misfits it was, and I think maybe that comes through. It would fit with the bottom lane aggression they can bring in, especially Zac ganking bottom lane with the Braum, with the Ezreal, can use the Shen really, really well.
All right, so let's see if that is the case. There's the Sejuani that we're going to expect. Now, piece together me the Unicorns comp. You said with Tristana, Veigar, TK, didn't make sense?
Now it's team fight.
And just Sion and Sej engage and let the rest follow up.
Yeah, basically, you just want to find an engage, one-shot a target. Even if it's to the front line, Veigar would have enough damage, and Tristana would have enough damage too, to basically one-shot that champion. So I wouldn't like the Trundle pick. I would really like a Shen pick here, because if you pick the Trundle and you have to team fight, this champion is actually squishy if you cannot ultimate a target early enough.
Ooh, it's going to get locked in. Now expand on the timing. Obviously we know the ultimate from Trundle. Subjugate is going to steal away those tanky stats. But when you say not early enough, what does that mean?
Basically, if you're on the front line as Trundle, you try to make him hit a pillar, whatever it is, and you're unable to just press the ultimate on a frontline target, you're not going to get those resistances. And if they can one-shot you from afar, which is really easy if you run into a Veigar, if you run into a Sejuani ultimate, you're not going to be in the best spot come.
Okay, so timing-wise, let's see how that plays out in terms of the team fights. 5 wins, 8 losses. Both of these teams looking for that run. The Unicorns, though, they're 4 wins and 0 losses. And they're looking to make it 5 and looking to surprise everybody into the playoffs.
I like the innovation that Unicorns are actually bringing. It's not really something that, like, they're not too far out there, but they're stringing in a couple of champions that we haven't seen in that combination so far. The Veigar with the Sion and the Tahm, I think, is smart. On Schalke's side, it's really traditional. The traditional 4-1 with some 1-3-1 elements with the split push potential of Trundle, like, is still gonna like play into their favor, because that's something they have shown all split.
Wow, we saw the 2 coaches walking off stage there, Sheepy and Andre, giving that handshake. Schalke playing to their style somewhat. Unicorns of Love growing and adapting. Kold, of course, on that supportive Sejuani, no longer on the carries, not playing the Canes and the Kha'Zixes that we saw earlier in the split.
I think it shows a lot of trust towards his teammates. I think when you come into a new team, you kind of want to show your potential, you want to show what you got. You may play too carry heavy, but he actually shows now that he trusts his teammates and trusts Exileh to carry him.
Well, it helps, because Exileh, we talked about it yesterday, we got to cast UOL. He has improved. You know, he still has his Exileh moments, but they are much fewer and much further apart, right? He's becoming much more of a threat, and this time he's on the little tiny Master of Evil. And we'll find out whether or not anybody calls him short. But I want to bring us back to the Kold point, because we actually had a couple of stats prepared to look at in terms of Kold's impact in the early game over the last few weeks. And if you look at the graph on screen, the gray line is the average kills and assists at 15 minutes week by week. And all of a sudden, since the winning streak has begun, you can see how much more effective Kold has become. Up to 2.5 average kills and assists week on week, for the last 3 weeks.
I want to say there's a correlation between winning and jungle activity. We've seen it out of a lot of teams. For example, also Giants, when they have been active in the early game, they have tried to look for plays, they're actually setting up the wins. Because if you're actively pushing for something, you're actively pushing towards your winning conditions, you're actually making plays on the map and you're allowing your team to basically just succeed.
And that's exactly what's happened. And it's also interesting because I'm sure many of the Love Hurts crew will remember, and anybody who's watched UOL games, they've actually made mistakes in the early game. They've been punished at times. There's been sort of bad invades or people caught out. And despite maybe giving up an early advantage, they always bounce back. It's quite impressive that they can have a horrible start, but still find a way to not like tilt off the face of the earth. And that's a testament to why they're on this winning streak.
Yeah, they have been molded by failures already. Basically, a lot of mistakes happening for them overall, like where they have individual misplays once in a while. So them not tilting is probably a result of that. Basically, you know that sometimes things can go bad, but just sticking to the win conditions can still teach you can win.
All right, let's see what their win conditions will be. We talked about the team fights, talked about the laning impact, and amazing, you get to play a fun mini game with us.
Okay.
When you join the caster desk and you have a fun champion like this Veigar or a Nasus, periodically, I'm going to say, how many stacks does Veigar have?
And I'm supposed to guess?
And no, you've actually got a computer, you can check.
That's
and then
boring.
You give me the exact number, okay? This is like Caster 101 here, so...
Caster 101.
So we'll keep track
Thanks
of
for that introduction.
And we'll see how effectively you can
He
farm
currently
up.
has 5 stacks, 7 stacks.
I'm also going to play the the 8.4 mid lane itemization game with you.
Oh, that's another fun game.
Where does a Veigar go?
That's a good question. I think that for him, Loons wouldn't be the worst choice. He definitely cannot use the mana-heavy items like Xerath, for example. I don't think it's a good choice on him because he cannot spam spells. But Ludens, potentially Morellos, it really depends on what he's going for. CDR stacks, basically helps you stack that passive faster, so it's a good choice. But we see a roam from Totoro towards mid lane.
Oh, Kold is waiting in the wings too. This could be a 3-man gang.
Can't kill him though. I think they're just backing off and they're going to control now the River Crab.
All right, Flash and Cleanse available to Nukeduck. He's got that arcane comment. Exileh on the other side, the Unsealed Spellbook. And WhiteKnight Sion has gone for Glacial Augment. So I like to see the differences here in Keystone Masteries. VandeR on his Braum also gone for the Unsealed Spellbook. What do you make of that?
TP plays behind. I think he's copying Mythy from NA, where he's just trying to get the extra X factor in the game. And I think it's smart for Schalke because they have been so standard in the past. They're just like deviating from it a bit, may throw their opponents off guard.
All right. Will Pride make this work? Elastic Slingshot over the wall, stretching strike onto the minions. Very nicely done. WhiteKnight caught up by the Pillar of Ice.
That's a good gank.
Flash. Very good gank.
Smart gank pathing by Pride. He realized that he has nothing to clear besides his Gromp, and he can just use that time wisely. Gank the top lane, get the 1-3-1 champion ahead.
What does that do to the matchup now? Obviously no flash for WhiteKnight, so he's going to be in trouble. Chachi on that split push, or like the dueling champion. Let me use that terminology rather. Does this unlock him a little bit more? Can play a little more aggressive?
Yeah, basically WhiteKnight is not going to be able to abuse him at all in lane and try to fight him, because especially on the level 6, WhiteKnight is going to be squishy and he's not going to be able to ult away, because as far as I know, the Trundle pillar actually interacts with the ultimate.
Does indeed. Going to interrupt it. Quite a lot of interruptions here. You know, walls and blockages that can come down, not only for champions, but also for the minions. Vizicsacsi continuing to chomp away at WhiteKnight, stealing some of that AD with Q, working up towards the Subjugate. He's gone for the minion dematerializer, as well as VandeR, Totoro, and Exileh. And let's look at the jungle items in a moment, because Kold, with that red smite, is already going to get Nukeduck's flash. But Pride, he's gone for a Bomby Cinder.
Yeah, I think it's smart right now, because basically the difference between beforehand and now is that you don't have the extra tracker snap anymore, so you can't ward up. So the red smite is actually less efficient in terms of actually being healthy, because the thing is that the Bomby Cinder allows you to duel the enemy, and you have a lot of HP that they cannot just burn through, realistically speaking. So it's definitely a good item choice if you want to control the map, just because of the fact that you're more beefy.
And what does that indicate in terms of Pride's decision-making? You talked about the beefiness and the gank heavy. Does it does it signal to you that he's going to look for more ganks? He's going to look for more duels?
I think so. I not necessarily do it because 1v1 it may not be ideal, but in 2v1 situation it's definitely good.
All right, WhiteKnight's already used that unstoppable onslaught. Vizicsacsi has no level 6 available. He's locked down. Pride's looking for the gank under the tower. Chachi gets a chop to survive. Stretching strike brings Kold and WhiteKnight together as a decimating smash. Knocks Pride up into the air. No kill goes down. And Pride was just there in the nick of time.
Finally, we're seeing some action towards the top side of the map that has been abandoned so far in every match that we've seen on 8.4. I like the ganks, I like the activity.
Well, when you've got a Trundle in the top lane, you want to unlock him. That's what Schalke are trying to do. They did the first gank. There was a reply from Kold. And now Exile's going to get that baleful strike. Connect with Nukeduck. There's not a lot of damage.
He's like a bird in a cage at this point. He's sitting there waiting for the cage to run out and just hopes for the best.
I stole Baby Cage from Rivington. He used to call the Event Horizon and the Camille Hextech Ultimatum the Baby Cage.
Okay.
And the reason you could get away with it, not both of them were sort of in meta at the same time for a very long time.
Okay.
So you could just use the same terminology, but now I'm a little screwed because now I want to call the Event Horizon the Baby Cage, but I've just spent an entire Camille game doing it. So I have to come up with something else. Maybe the Bird Cage is what I'll steal yours, amazing.
But that's pretty tough unless you're playing against Azir. It's only in that scenario. But yeah, like Rivington is a smart man.
He is indeed. He has some of the best one-liners in the game. And by the way, that Bird Cage is not holding Nukeduck back. He's up 20 CS already, and he's been ganked multiple times. I mean, that is impressive.
Yeah, not sure if this matchup is supposed to go this way, so Nukeduck just showing his lane expertise and understanding his matchup perfectly.
I think that's important too, because Nukeduck has struggled a little bit in recent weeks. You know, at the beginning of the split, he looked dominant. I distinctly remember myself and Deficio saying it's the year of Nukeduck. And unfortunately, over the last 2 or 3 weeks, that hasn't really been the case, amazing.
Yeah, I'm surprised by it. We've seen Nukeduck for a long time now on the USCS, and while he had success in the 2013 run, for example, with Lamb Dogs, he also had some success with Vitality in the beginning of Spring Split 2016, and some success with Rock in 2015, but there was never this breakthrough again where after 2013, he just seems like a player within the USCS, not someone that is a dominant force.
Yeah, exactly. And despite all the players really talking extremely highly about his ability, the threat, so many mid laners compliment Nukeduck's playstyle.
He's
rarely on like a playoff team lane, but look at this. Locked inside the cage, but it turns out Exile is actually the one in trouble because those Sand Soldiers don't care.
I think mid laners may sometimes misevaluate like RP with skill, because like I think that Nukeduck, his lane is phenomenal. He's always been a great laner. He's always been able to just play towards his matchup and execute perfectly. Similar to obviously Bjergsen plays in NA. I think that may be the reference, but he has yet to unlock that next step where what Bjergsen, for example, does, roams towards side lanes, understands the map. That's something that Nukeduck has yet to show, and I want him to do that.
Let's see if he can do it in this matchup. I mean, he's definitely got pushing power into the Veigar for now. Has a champion that can impact those side lanes, or Pride can also come to play around him a little bit. Gank from afar. He's gone for the blue smite over Kold's red smite. We talked a little bit about this yesterday. What's your preference in terms of this matchup? The Sejuani, the Zac, red versus the blue.
I like this blue smite a lot on Zac. I think for him, it's just to go to gank. So basically, especially unlocking the Trundle is easier if you have the blue smite to shut down the Sion. So red smite is a weird choice, I think, for Sejuani in this game too. I think it's not really ideal because there's no one necessarily to do it. You're not going to face the Trundle. You're not going to face the Zac. It's going to be short duels, having the blue smite enabled to shut it down.
Well, let's see whether or not this red smite pays off, because Vizicsacsi has sidestepped the ultimate from WhiteKnight. There's a Glacial Prison available to Kold. He's already used it. Locked Vizicsacsi down. Subjugate is building up a lot of regen, but first blood available and secured by Kold and his red smite.
Just as I was speaking badly of the red smite, he uses it to get the gank off because there's no way the resistances are going to stop true damage.
No, there's not, but it is at the cost of an Infernal Drake. So what do you prefer, First Blood and the gold to your jungler, or Infernal Drake for your team and some of that scaling?
Let's put it this way, I think if Unicorns got the Drake and Schalke would have gotten the top kill, I think it would have been beneficial to Schalke, but in this case scenario, I don't like it for Unicorns. But yeah, we should rewatch the gank because he misses the ultimate, but it doesn't matter. He gets ahead of Vizicsacsi, he sets up the gank, and there's easy execution on it.
And if you look at the minimap, Exile's making his way up to the top lane. Part of the reason
so sad.
that Unicorns have have picked up this winning streak and continue to improve is their team play.
Yeah.
Yesterday, it was team play that allowed them to win, even so they had a few missteps in the mid-game. It was good plays as a team, a couple of bad plays as a team, but crucially, it's this 5-man unit, that their macro, their teamwork, that's allowing them to improve and take over this game.
Yeah, some other teams kind of rely on this individual outplayer at some point in the game to basically carry them, but Unicorns, they've made it their promise almost to come together as a team, to understand the meta perfectly, and to just accept, hey, this is our team, we're not going to try to win individually, we're not going to try to make that individual outplay, we're actually going to try to improve together, and I think it may be down to Kold, because he has been someone that has always been that way.
Well, this time around it's Pride with another gank. Let's Bounce comes out. Exileh will not get stunned by his own event horizon.
Doesn't need to flash either. I'm not quite sure how he could have played that better, but maybe using the flash to just get the Q 100% would have been good, but it's a lot of what-if scenarios for Pride here.
Yeah, exactly. Pride has had a very good early game, though. Multiple ganks, multiple flashes. He's actually saved Vizicacsi's life once.
And he's up 21 CS too. Like, he's definitely been active. He has been farming a ton. And that's been Pride this split. I think he has become better and better, where I think now he's actually one of the better junglers in the USCS, whereas in the beginning of the split he had a lot of weaknesses in terms of ganking, in terms of being active, and he's shown a lot of promise so far.
A lot of promise, a lot of impact. Unfortunately, though, no kills yet for his team, which is what Kold has actually been able to secure. So despite that farming difference, Kold is even in gold. And for Pride, there was quite a lot of hype around him coming in. You know, the Schalke squad had this like undertones of optimism from the public as well as the broadcast. And they've looked like a very clean team at times, but not like a team that's able to make plays like this. Hugely proactive, maybe a little bit risky at times. VandeR and Upset are running for their lives, but Samux is pretty easily winning that duel. While on the back end, VandeR's just going to get run down. Kold with his second kill of the game. And Upset with flash and heal, he'll be able to escape. Pride gets locked down, eats a Baleful Strike and Dark Matter, but it's another, what looked like pretty easy kill for UOL.
Not just a creative pick ban, but also a creative approach to gank, and using the Tahm Kench to get behind the enemy bottom lane and abusing them that way. Really smart play by UOL.
And just to go back to that Schalke point, you know, it feels like they're trying to play the perfect game, the safe game. A team like UOL, they've got this mentality amazing that if it's a 50-50, it's in their favor.
Yeah.
Do you think that's fair?
It's definitely fair. I think there are a lot of ways to describe it. That's one of them. Unicorns definitely always think they're the ones making the play, and they're always going for everything that they can, basically.
Because they started, right?
Yeah.
So that's what gives them the advantage.
Yeah.
What do you think of this gank here?
Beautiful. I think that obviously the ult placement could have been a bit more ideal, but that's just nitpicking at this point. The CC combination from both Totoro and obviously the Sejuani coming in is just a pretty sight to see.
And then, of course, on the flip side, Schalke, if it's not a 70, 80, 85% like chance of success play, it feels like they don't tend to do it. They don't put themselves in that risky situation.
Yeah, I've never seen them go for 50-50 whatsoever, because they have been such a calculated team, and I think it may actually harm them to a certain extent where...
Ooh, nice little engage. Exileh is caught up. Pride made that look sweet. Exileh is running for his life, and the True Shot Barrage is sidestepped. He will eventually go down to Nukeduck, but that combination between Pride and Nukeduck was gorgeous.
Pride's mechanics have always been on point. We see it now in the Zac flash, basically securing the stretching strikes. Just how you're supposed to play it. Get behind them and just use the ultimate to pull him back into the team.
And so crucially, the kill was secured by Nukeduck there. Flash over the event horizon and bring him back.
Yeah, it's just one way to do it, and then we see the Azir knock back too. He's basically back in the enemy turret.
Also, Upset already being in lane, he said that was called pretty early on. Strategy put down. VandeR's going to get caught out by the Glacial Prison. Stand behind me, I think it's already been used. Totoro's being tagged. The Grey Health has already been popped. Forces this defensive flash in a 3v2. VandeR and Upset outplay once again.
And his Herald is about to run out. He has to spawn it right now.
Well, that's not
May
going
not
to
be
get
cancelled, but the
huge amount of use. What do you think of that?
I didn't like the gank because I think the setup per se wasn't ideal. The thing is, if you're playing Sejuani, if you proc the ultimate first, you're not going to be able to combo that CC again, and that just limits your play potential.
That's exactly what happened. Oh man, Totoro gets tagged by Winter's Bite. He gets deaded. Upset will be donated the kill, and that means Schalke's 2 kills have gone to their carries.
Yeah, that's just overstaying, getting greedy with recoil. Shelly's still trying to hit that turret though.
But amazing. Upset and VandeR did this yesterday as well. The 2v3 outplays, the reactions, using every single one of their abilities to maximize their survivability.
Yeah, I think all of the Schalke members have basically been players that have been playing to the lanes perfectly. It's not like something that you see every day where you can basically guess whatever that team is going to bring in, and every lane is going to bring in every single game. VandeR and Upset have been a decent but consistent bot lane.
Yeah, very, very true. And as we see Exileh, still down 20 CS. We've gone 16 minutes in. Schalke, 1,000 gold up. Amazing. You can sense the question that's coming. How many stacks does Exileh have on his Baleful Strike?
That's a nice 123. So he has 123 ability power on top of it.
Well, let's see if we can blow up Nukeduck. The answer is no. We also quickly saw the jungle proximity, by the way. Kold 47%, Pride 30%. So the time that Pride has spent around his lane feels pretty productive.
Yeah, he's been effective.
And he's been farming very well to boot as well. Vizicsacsi, by the way, even on CS, he just uses that subjugate. So we're well and truly moving into the mid-game. And the two team comps that are about
It's
team
not ideal for
fighting
Unicorns.
are definitely happening. Unicorns are still looking for the engage. The Infernal Drake is helping out. Here comes VandeR and Upset. Now Totoro and Kold are running for their lives. Exileh gets spat out from the Devour, and Totoro won't even get to pop his grey health. Schalke will get their third kill of the game. They might get their second Infernal, unless Unicorns can pull off some miracle steal, but I don't think they will.
Yeah, while that engage was going on, Samux got caught up on the bottom side. He couldn't have his team. He had to burn his flag, and there was no way for him to follow up. 4v3 for Schalke, easy execution.
2 Infernal Drakes, 3 kills, 500 gold in the lead, and this is a replay.
Yeah, you're basically walking the river, you're hoping for a bot play, but you get caught out in the middle of it. There's no way for Samux to follow up. We see him on the bottom side, and they're trying to kind of counter by engaging onto Pride, but there's no way they're ever going to kill him with his ultimate up.
None whatsoever. Messy team fight, and that's sort of what we've talked about. Schalke, when they've got the control, the play, it looks really good and clean. Unicorns will still commit, even if it's risky.
They're not going to get anything here. The counter TP coming in. They're going to pull through with it.
Oh man, this is another huge team fight. WhiteKnight's already there. 5-man stack on 5-man stack. WhiteKnight's going to flash for his life. Upset is already down. Now it's up to Nukeduck. Vizicsacsi's going to get chunked out. His subjugate is used, but it's not enough. Schalke teleported in for the reply. Exileh's running 1v3. He's looking to take out Nukeduck. The Primordial Burst is available. Pops Pride's passive. Baleful Strike into Dark Matter, and the Comet follows VandeR. Not enough for the kill, but Samux takes him down, and Unicorns, they hit right back.
Yeah, they finally got the play that they wanted. The double TP finally paying off because no one expected them to keep going.
What is this? Unicorns with the dive. They go all the way down, and they pick up another kill.
That's what we've talked about. When Schalke is not in control, they are unresponsive. They don't know what to do. They don't expect what the enemy is doing, and they're paying for it.
Man, I don't expect them to keep chasing. They even pushed Nukeduck all the way down to the bottom lane.
Yeah, they just keep going. They don't care. It's the 50-50 in the end.
Oh man, chase, chase, chase. And at the end of it, it's a 2,000 gold lead. Okay, make some sense of this for me, Amazing.
Okay, so you see the double TPs coming out behind them. That's why you see the response TP from Chachi. I was questioning in the beginning, but it makes sense. Sion is in the middle of the river. Exileh is behind him. There's no way they can get out of it. The cage is going down. No way to get out.
So Unicorns just better positioning. End up punishing Schalke. Despite the reactive flash, despite Vizicsacsi being out of position. Man, I can't believe Exileh just so confident to chase into 1v3 like that.
He doesn't care. Like, he sees that Braum is Zac can't really jump in again because he would die. And Azir, once he uses hand soldiers, it's really unlikely that he can get out because he cannot use his spells anymore in the other direction.
Well, this is the type of plays that helped garner a lot of Unicorns fandom. To expand on that in a moment, Let's Bounce will pull a couple members of Unicorns backwards. Pride is in trouble, no passive
remainder. Is about to spawn right now. For Unicorns, it should be an easy transition into it. Get the top side control, walk back to Nash, bait it.
No teleport for Vizicsacsi at the beginning of this game. Sjokz and Deficio talked us through the legacy of Unicorns of Love, the playoffs that they've made every single split. And you know, it's crazy games like this, crazy play styles like this, and sometimes some crazy picks as well, that built this organization, the fandom and the legacy that they have. And you can see they're going ham because they don't want to go home.
Face on that too. He's kind of uncertain what they can do. They're trying to contest the river. They're not counting the members. They're not thinking about the fact that Exileh is mid-party, that Upset is not even moving at this point. And quite frankly, they look slightly tilted.
Can they recover? That's the real question. Because it is only a 2,000 gold lead. Now at 20 minutes, that is fairly sizable, especially when it's 3 towers to 1. Samux takes it out, but the main tipping point all weekend long has been Baron. Oh, screw anything like that. Just another team fight. Totoro's running for his life, going to get cut off by a pillar of ice. This time around, Vizicsacsi's now going in 1v5. Where's the support? He's not going to be in time. Chachi's running away as the unstoppable onslaught comes in. Vizicsacsi's down. Bright's going to go low. Stretching strike connects, and despite Nukeduck, an upset, hammering away on the back end. Their team is being destroyed. Unicorns of Love have had a 4-game winning streak, and they're setting themselves up to make it 5.
Schalke is making too many plays on the map. They cannot feel responsible for the play early, and they're trying to counter it, but you're scaling. Just play the game slow. Unicorns perfectly responding to everything, and now they finally get the Nash.
Oh, Nash is going to go down uncontested. True Shot Barrage isn't even available to steal. Okay, amazing. Let's take a look at the EU LCS standings.
Yeah.
It might have to happen after the replay, depending on what production is going to throw up for us. But both of these teams, 5 wins and 8 losses. Both of these teams fighting to actually make it into playoffs. They're not there yet. But Unicorns is the team with momentum. They are playing so well in every single game. Seem to be finding confidence that they didn't have at the beginning of the splits.
Yeah, winning 4 games in a row does it for you. But for them, they have to kind of be the best team in EU to actually make it to playoffs, because they have such a tough schedule. We're going to see later potentially, but they do face Vitality, they do face Fnatic, they do face G2 and Misfits, who are the top 4 teams in EU right now. So them getting this win is extremely crucial.
So tough now for Schalke. On the flip side, Minion Dematerializer, 5 stacks for Vizicsacsi, 4 stacks for VandeR, and they've got themselves that Azir Sundisk that will help out. WhiteKnight actually, I think, kicked that minion, or it got pulled back, didn't quite see how. And now Schalke, they're going to defend and stall this Baron buff as quickly as possible. Unicorns are barreling down mid.
Yeah, if you wait and don't clear the way for ASAP right now, you can actually go for the mid lane turret. They cleared the wave a bit too fast. The Ben minion should be exposed, but there's no one to hit it. Oh, they use minion Dematerializer. 1 is down.
All right, so 1 has been
Saved
used.
it.
No cannon minions up. Samux gets tagged by a tower shot as well as a mystic shot. And that Event Horizon is going to play havoc on Schalke's ability to re-engage. But it's about stalling, it's about defending. Maybe that mystic shot can help out. A little bit of long-range Q poke onto those banner-empowered minions, onto those Baron-empowered minions as well.
Yeah, it should help out. The thing is right now, though, they get a free Infernal, and because the Ben minion is kind of down right now, you have to reset again. You have to understand, hey, we cannot just rush it down mid lane. We actually have to go to a side again.
Okay, we're going to look at some of those numbers after this replay that we talked about. And of course, this was the setup towards Baron.
Yeah, they think they have an easy pick on Totoro, but right now, the chase stops. You didn't get the pick. Why do you TP behind? You don't need to do this. There's too much effort into trying to make a play. You have the counter king from WhiteKnight always coming in, where he just runs into the team and destroys everyone. There's no... They may have thought that he would not be able to get into a team fight, but we know what Sion can do. He can just turn on the bus and run in.
That's exactly what happened. Bus mode comes in. WhiteKnight, by the way, 0-0-4. Kold, the man that we looked at the beginning of the game, the impact for the team, he's got 100% kill participation, 4-0-6. And Samux is getting back to his carry form, 4-0-4. So let's look at those standings where we can see Unicorns of Love and Schalke and how they're fighting to make it towards playoffs. Look on the right-hand side of your screen how tight it is. Giants, Rocket at 6 wins. That's where Unicorns will tie themselves. They were 1-8, for goodness sake. And they're on the verge of becoming 6-8. That is
incredible,
mind-boggling.
Yeah, I talked about yesterday, and now we see the schedule where they have to be the top 4 teams right now. So any win against the bottom teams is helping, because ideally you want to beat them all, but that's unrealistic at this point. Let's keep it.
If Unicorns beat them all,
then
are they the best team in Europe?
Power ranking-wise, yeah. I don't think they have the tools yet to be the best team in Europe, but if you win every game, it doesn't matter what kind of players you are.
That's it. And we'll be playing the top 3 teams, top 4 teams already for the rest of the split. But let's see them close this game out. 6,000 gold lead. It's Luden's Echo. Second item for Exileh after that Abyssal Mask. And Unicorns are now sieging. By the way, it was an Infernal Drake they were able to pick up as well. So 3 Infernals in a row this game. definitely a lot of spiciness when both team comps want a team fight and they want to contest the whole time as well.
But you have to think about the Veigar stacks.
Oh!
It's exactly even better for them. And just bring it back. 260 stacked at this point, plus the... How many percent is it from the Infernal Drake?
Oh, a whole lot. I'll get you the exact number right
it's 8%.
now. It is 8% with a single stack, and it's 16% for the two
Yeah, I
Schalke
can't calculate
stacks.
the amount of damage I actually get out of that now, but definitely really, really good for Unicorns.
Well, if I were to say, Maurice, guess how much ability power Exileh has at 26 minutes with his items and an Infernal. Well, how much AP would you guess? Just throw a value at me.
450.
Oh,
wait, no, 500.
There we go. Next time we click on Exileh, if the observers can, you'll see he has 519 ability power
Smart.
at 26 minutes, which is terrifying.
I definitely didn't check that beforehand.
And his Baleful Strike will hit up to 1200 magic damage right now. So he's going to be able to just insta-gib and delete anybody.
But it's not going to help him clearing that abandoned minion. It doesn't change anything.
That's true. Bob, the
He
cannon
just walks
minion,
away. He's running white flag coming up.
is just going to have such a fantastic time. Okay, how do Unicorns finish this game out? We know the banner of command. Baron's not there. They can wait for that. But how else can they finish this game?
I think actually they can be confident at this point and confident enough to actually just find and negate. Have the Silent Ultimate come down the lane if Schalke, especially around the Nash area, is going to be too overextended because they do have to contest vision.
All right, contesting vision. I'm looking down. Still a bunch of dematerializer stacks available to them. So the Banon minion strategy can somewhat be countered. A minute and a half to Baron. And for Schalke, things are starting to look dire. Another potential 0-2 week. Their upcoming match schedule. Next week, they play Giants in G2. And then, of course, H2K and Fnatic. And they're under pressure now. It's such a difficult situation to be in. For Schalke, they've got to defend their tower. They've got to try to turn this around. Instantly goes back. Nukeduck, I didn't even see how he was pulled backwards. Did he try and dash to the Sand Soldiers? Has to be.
Yeah, has to be. He must have had a lapse of judgment right there. Tried to find an engage on the front line. It did not work. I want to see the replay of that, but that's just a weird play.
Just a really, really weird play. It feels like Jizuki's donation of a kill yesterday on that Azir. Just diving in and...
We're all friends in the US, yes, so we just give back what we take.
Just want to give a little bit of love. Just give a hug to the opponent. But now in a 4v5, Unicorns, before 30 minutes, are looking to take another Baron, are looking to break open Schalke's base. And it's just looking better and better and better for this team.
Yeah, we see the replay right now. I think he actually... Must have misclicked, no?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's the case.
Oh god.
It's autoed.
Oh yeah, he may have thought that he put the Sand Soldier. He may have actually like misclicked, didn't put his W down.
I really think we're gonna have to look at that a lot more once the game is over, because it looked to me like Samux's Buster shot was on cooldown too. So I don't know if there was some interaction.
Really, really weird interaction.
I really don't know. So unfortunately, we won't be able to answer that question right now.
Don't want to criticize someone before.
Yes, we will have to analyze that and take a closer look after the fact. But for now, we're approaching 30 minutes. It's a gigantic lead, 5 towers to 1, 11 kills to 3, 6,000 gold, vision superiority for UOL. I mean, they lead in every single metric except Dragons, and they're setting up for Baron.
Yeah, I like that. The jungler doesn't have to play sports anymore. I just let my support run in solo and hope for the best. But yeah, for them, it's basically get the Nash set up right now. Maybe even try to find a pick on the top side.
All right, Stretching Strike is being channeled here by Pride. Totoro and Kold a little bit split away from Exileh, who went to shove the top lane. And while I look at the mini-map, Vizicsacsi with TP available, he was pushing bottom lane, and the banner of command is on cooldown, so I can only assume he's left something there to siege while he's now joining the team.
He has to come back to the team. They need him to contest the vision on the Nashor.
All right, Glacial Prison comes out. Nukeduck's able to dash away this time, but VandeR is already caught out. He's blown up by the damage of Unicorns of Love. 5v4 now, and Unicorns are going to be able to set themselves up for a Baron.
Yeah, Schalke is so scared to just walk in as unit because Unicorns have such a good teamfight comp. Thunder goes in alone, gets picked off.
Yeah, he really does. There's some siege potential, some defense potential here from Schalke. They've got a lot of damage if they can stick to a target. Exile's Event Horizon is down. Vizicsacsi puts the pillar in the pit, and Pride
No vision whatsoever.
stretching strikes over. This is very, very split. Unicorns, they're not committed to Baron yet.
And Kold is being taken out.
Well, take a look at that. The Let's Bounce actually takes him out of the pit. Kold is going to survive. Pride's going to go down. Vizicsacsi hops over the wall. Blast cones to safety. Buys some additional time. This is at the cost of Pride's life. Unstoppable onslaught from WhiteKnight. Right, is it enough to stop the Baron? Nukeduck is now zoned away and pushed away. WhiteKnight's looking for the decimating smash. Vizicsacsi's going to come back up. Gigantic crit to the face. Flash for flash. But Kold and the rest of Unicorns, they cannot start the Baron. This is messy. Schalke, they've stopped the Baron. That's all that matters. VandeR's been able to respawn and rejoin the fight before it's even ended. Now the Abyssal Voyage is taking Totoro and WhiteKnight behind, but there's nothing more that comes from it.
Schalke is a bit of an beneficiary of a lot of split calls by Unicorns right now. They're not quite sure what to do, but they're starting the Nash again.
All right, 6 seconds before Pride respawns. That means there's no smite for the defense. True Shot Barrage has already been used. VandeR trying to catch out WhiteKnight, but the Baron will get secured safely at the end of it all. There's a 10,000 gold lead and a very, very chaotic passage of play.
Yeah, after VandeR goes down on the pick, Pride has no vision whatsoever. They should have waited for the pillar. He jumps in early, tries to get Kold out of the pit to basically deny the smite and basically get a kill, but it's not working for them. Kold is too tanky at this point. They get Pride down, return to the Nash later on.
And what are the communication like in team fights like this? How do you possibly make sense of it?
It's basically just, you kind of have an expectation coming in when you set up a Nash, how the team fight is going to go. When it's really split, you basically just talk, hey, I'm being caught out right now, come to me, come to me. These are the communication patterns that you have. It's not really that specific. If it's chaotic, the communication is going to be chaotic too.
Yeah, that definitely felt that way. But it was Unicorns that come out with the win. They got the Baron, they got a second Dragon. If you look down your itemization, by the way, Samux, Bloodthirster, IH, Static Shiv, and Rapid Fire Cannon. That boy hits like a truck.
Yeah, he does at this point. Tristana is still a really, really good late game champion. Nothing changed in 8.4. Him having so many items at this point doesn't even need the last whisper right now because the frontline isn't even that tanky for him.
No, it's not. Where is the Dematerializer or the Banner of Command? Not used just yet. I'm looking at the cooldowns. That cannon just gets popped away. That one was used, and I think it was Vizicsacsi that took it out. Event Horizon actually catches Vizicsacsi inside that CC chain. Here comes Pride, interrupted by Kold. Very nicely done with that Arctic Assault. Cannon Minion is firing away onto the inhibitor turret. It finally goes down. Vizicsacsi once again locked down, popped down, blown up by Exileh as well as Kold. And WhiteKnight runs forward with the ultimate. The inhibitor is broken. The Unicorns, they're looking for the win.
They can actually look to finish with the Bandit Minion in the back. They got Chachi down for free. There should be no contest possible for Schalke unless they win a teamfight miraculously.
It's a 5 versus 4. It's going to have to be ridiculously miraculous. Schalke are still trying to put the poke damage down, but I don't think Ezreal has enough damage in this sort of scenario. Pride goes in with a stretching strike. The Nexus turret is down. Unicorns are on the verge of a 5-game winning streak. They're looking for the final hit. They're onto the Nexus turret as Nukeduck is trying for the slide and glide, but it will only divide Schalke. They've got no more damage left. The Buster Shot, triple kill. Nexus is down, and Unicorns go 5-0.
I can't believe that there's another win on the board for the Unicorns, finally being like amongst the teams that can actually reach playoffs now.
Look at the faces on the Unicorns of Love. Celebrating.
And they're happy. And they should be. This game, even though it looked shaky early, they found the place that they needed to, and they executed in the mid to late game, which is the important part, because no game is decided by the early game.
It did not look possible that Unicorns could be in this scenario, in this position.
I'm surprised, man.
This team was like discounted in the pre-split power rankings after a few weeks of games, but they're just finding really impressive performances and development.
Yeah, it's, as we said earlier, it's not just individually where they have been performing better and better around Exileh, around Samux, around Kold, but as a team they have looked great. They are looking for plays. They're actually understanding the game on a high level, which is something we couldn't say in the beginning of the split.
They're now tied 6 wins with Giants and Rocket, as well as UOL. Giants and Rocket, they started the split very, very well, and now they're on a topsy-turvy ride. There's only 2 weeks left of games after today. Only 4 games left for each of these teams. But look at Sheepy.
He's so hesitant.
I don't know if he's surrendering or celebrating. I don't know what those hands mean.
Jazz hands, man.
But let's turn our attention to Schalke. After, of course, Sheepy having a chat to UOL Dad. But yeah, what does this mean for Schalke now?
It's really hard to say. I think they have to somehow regroup and really win the last 4 games, because that's going to be the focus. But if they keep up the performance from today and just a general almost like apathy, if I would call it anyway, they're not going to do it. They really have to find more active ways of winning the game, because so far they have shown nothing but passive play and passive farming. And if you're a team that is almost like slipping down to the bottom now, you get to fight for your victories.
Yes, really, really do. As it stands, 5 wins and 9 losses for Schalke. Is becoming very, very difficult. For you guys at home, though, let's turn our attention to player of the game. Jump onto Twitter, go to @LOL Esports, go look at the poll, and you have to actually vote on that poll. The 3 options for you: Samux, Exileh, and Kold. Thank you very much. See who you're going to vote for. Anyways, coming up next, we've got Misfits Gaming taking on H2K. Is Sjokz the key for Misfits? Amazing will give you the answer. Before that, though, tickets for the Spring Finals on the 7th and 8th of April are on sale at eu.lolesports.com. Go check it out. Before then, let's have a little preview of Deficio's Pulsar.
Det handler om arven, hvor forfædres ære, de ofre, der smede vores land. Det handler om Valhalla, krigene kæmpet, kysterne raided. Det handler om den lidenskab og det engagement, vi dedikerer hver dag. Og det handler om blodet, sveden, tårerne for arven i vores store nation.